Hello everyone and welcome to game 1 in what will be an interesting series, at least for me, because I have no idea who the players are. Well, I do know that one of the players is Hopestar and the other player is 120, but they both decided to use Chinese characters in their names, so I don't know which one's which. Also, on top of that, they also decided to change their colors from match to match and change their names from match to match. But the reason why I am casting Undead versus Undead is that this matchup is rather rare. So I'll be referring to the colors, and if you guys know who the players are, make sure you let me know in the comments below. And that way people will know what's really happening if you care which is the winner, Hopestar versus 120. Now, we are looking at a Death Knight versus Death Knight 1v1 matchup, which is pretty common. The other opening hero could be that Lich, as the Lich can use that Rod of Necromancy very effectively in conjunction with Dark Ritual. By using that Dark Ritual, getting it up to level 2 pretty fast and early on, that Rod of Necromancy, I believe, actually has a better conversion rate on gold to mana than, say, a potion of mana or a clarity potion. Death Knight now coming in here, going after a rather difficult creep camp, and now going to be able to take down this Null Ward in here. Death Knight has tanked a fair bit of damage, and there goes another set of units. Wow, this Death Knight doing a very good job only creeping with himself and these Rods of Necromancy. Very impressive creep play coming in from that yellow undead player. What is this? A Crypt Fiend has now made its way over and is now finishing off every single every single skeletal minion, as the Death Knight does have a little bit of experience on the board. He does have further tech, even though he is behind in the overall level race. All right, Death Knight now making a quick run up the middle here. Is he going to be able to put pressure down? You can see that the Halls of the Dead and now the later Crypt Fiends are coming in for the yellow Undead player. He is going to benefit a little bit from the fact that he has these skeletons in the backfield to try and bring up skeletal minions. All right, Death Knight now coming in. That is a lot more minions coming in from the purple side, and I don't believe the Death Knight is going to be able to really do all that much. Crypt Fiend's now going to be taking a little bit of damage as the units are now backing off once more. A whole bunch of skeletal minions now making their way inside the base, but a Nerubian tower will shut all of that down before any real damage is done to that Acolyte gold mine. Now, let's come back over here. You can see the Crypt Fiends are pushing back this Death Knight. Death Knight is sitting comfortably in his base, and any damage dealt to him is pretty much superficial at this point. With Unholy Aura and the fact that he is fighting on Blight, his hit points will regenerate extremely quickly if he decides to just stay inside the base. That's not going to be the case, as we now see the yellow Undead Death Knight doing a little bit of a chase and now clearing up many of these skeletal minions. It really feels like the yellow Undead player has a bit of an advantage here going after all of these units. Let's take a look at the tech advantage. We are at Halls of the Dead compared to down over here. The purple is a little bit behind here, so he is behind not only in terms of level, but behind in terms of tech, even though he is ahead in army size. 28 over 30 compared to 26 over 30. A new Crypt Fiend should be coming in. No, it is not. Wow. I am actually surprised. Black Citadel, no Ziggurat being placed down, so we are going to have a very, very late Lich. Meanwhile, over here where the action is, the Undead now chasing the Death Knight all across the map with really nothing to show. Whole bunch of skeletal minions now making their way over. It looks like, yes, another skeletal minion will get taken down, and the Death Knight here is halfway up to level 2. A quick Dust of Appearance charge used in order to take down this one important Sentry Ward. That Sentry Ward would have kept track of the purple and made it very difficult for him to do any creeping away from the base. All right, this Crypt Fiend down to 200 or 157 hit points already. Death Coil to try and save it, as the Death Knight is now getting rather low on mana. Will he be able to get back onto Blight? He will be able to get back onto Blight, and there's another Death Coil long distance, as the purple is doing a good job staying in this game. The problem still is the lack of level 2, which is now going to be rectified here. We are pretty much even, as the Crypt Fiends are now backing off. We can see a quick tech to tier 3 here. No Lich as of yet. Meanwhile, no Lich here either, as we are now going into a slaughterhouse. We are staying very much in terms of solo hero, even though we are at Black Citadel. And I guess the main focus is whether or not you can get those obsidian statues and eventual destroyers. Crypt Fiends now making their way over. Gargantuan Sea Turtle taking a fair bit of damage, but it's not going to really matter much, as the Death Knight is there for that harassment. Once more, Yellow Undead putting pressure on the main tech of Purple. If Purple is unable to get that slaughterhouse up, he'll be very far behind, as those obsidian statues will regenerate the hit points of the entire Yellow Undead army. Coming back around, the Death Knight still has enough for a Death Coil, and we are now finally getting up a Lich. That Lich with Frost Nova is going to make Yellow's harassment that much more difficult, as he will not be able to escape with all of the necessary units, or he cannot ensure the escape of all the necessary units. Black Citadel about to be completed. There we go. We could be going into Destroyer form already. That Lich will pick up an Orb of Corruption the moment it is ready here. And whoever gets this Gargantuan Sea Turtle kill and item will probably end up winning the game. There is a beautiful Frost Nova there, as you can see him now trying to just escape there. Meanwhile, the Yellow Death Knight trying to catch up to this Yellow Crypt Fiend, and that Crypt Fiend is rather low on hit points. Are we going to see a Death Coil coming in? No, we are not, as the Purple Undead now coming back around to just creep out this creep camp. This Gargantuan Sea Turtle, this 744 creep camp will get cleared out. Potion of Invulnerability, yes it is. Now transfer to the Lich, as the Lich is a very, very crucial part in this upcoming fight. Obsidian Statue now healing up all of these units, and Purple has been playing the slow and steady race and has seemed to really made up a lot of lost time. Orb of Corruption is on that Lich there. Meanwhile, Orb of Corruption not on this Lich, as the Lich does get to level 2. Ring of Protection +2, very helpful if that Lich does ever get focused down, as the Death Knight now making its way over. Both of these do not have a chance of getting to level 3 just quite yet. Meanwhile, Yellow Death Knight gets to stays at level 2. Lich came over just in time to steal level 3 away from the Death Knight, as the Death Knight now looks to venture forth against this Black Drake Dark Wizard creep camp. Dark Wizard can get focused down very quickly. I don't see Web though, so without Web, this Black Drake is just going to be causing a lot of problems. Meanwhile, Dark Ranger has been picked up by the Purple Undead player and the Yellow Undead player as well. Both of them coming in, as the Lich is now sitting at level 2. Are we going to perhaps see a little bit of poking and a big damage dealt? Obsidian Statue now down to -1 armor, taking an additional 6% damage all the time, as all the units now need to run back. All right, this Drake, and a Rogue Wizard will get taken down here. No easy way to take down the Black Drake short of having Web, as we are now going to be going into another battle. All right, there's a very big Frost Nova. There goes a Crypt Fiend. No Death Coil, as there was in fact a silence. All right, a Red Drake, a beautiful summoned unit here, and that is now coming as a shocker to Purple. Purple not sure what to do here, but unless he's able to, or if he's able to get that Death Knight is going to be in a lot of hurt too. Dark Ranger now backing up from both sides. You can see that Orb of Corruption on that Lich. That -5 armor could play a very big, important role, as we're looking at the Dark Ranger now trying to engage here. All right, beautiful focus of a low hit point Crypt Fiend to take it down. The Lich may be able to turn around and get it again. Are we going to be seeing that? There is the silence onto that unit, as the Death Knight now tries to run away. Death Coil does get onto that Destroyer. The Destroyer able to stay alive ever so barely, as we are still looking at a big fight here. Death Coil on the Dark Ranger, almost taken down. as we see a bit of absorb mana. That destroyer does have some mana here. This is looking to be a very big fight. Some beautiful death coils on both sides to try and save their units. It looks like another silence going down on the Dark Ranger and that Lich. Lich down to 90 hit points, uses the potion of invulnerability just in time, as the Lich now needs to wait for another death coil. This Lich, however, taken down or takes out the destroyer, as it looks like the Dark Ranger barely survives at 2-0, dies at 2 hit points, dies. As we now see all of this going back and forth. All right, Lich using a Scroll of Town Portal in order to escape the Death Knight. Is he going to get another Crypt Fiend kill? It could happen. Didn't even see the attack. How that die? I didn't even see the Death Knight raise a blade there, as he is now making his way back here. Lich having a very, very difficult time trying to get more hit points. The Death Knight should be coming over with the Death Coil to add some more hit points to that Lich momentarily, as we're looking at the Dark Ranger now tanking a bit of damage. That Dark Ranger should not be tanking that damage. Perhaps the Crypt Fiend should, with as they are not as big of a priority target. But then again, the Dark Ranger does have armor, while the Lich does not. Obsidian Statue now coming over to heal up the rest of the units. Death Knight at 3, Dark Ranger at 2. Lich will be getting to 3 here in just a moment. So it is a 3-3-2 against, I believe, a 3-3-3-1. Purple making a very big comeback in this game. And if the Dark Ranger can get some big items here, things could turn around. The Dark Wizard dropped that Red Drake in that previous, and that was used so effectively in that previous fight. Are we going to see as good of an item for Purple? There you have it. Dark Wizard gets taken down. Scroll of Restoration, that it can be huge if a lot of units have absorbed damage. Scroll of Restoration restores hit points and mana to all units. I don't know if a Scroll of Restoration actually can be used on destroyers. Does it restore mana? I would assume so, but we'll have to double check that. It is one of those situations that is so rare. Crypt Fiends now making their way over, gonna finish off this Vile Temptress Keep Camp. Meanwhile, off to the north, Death Knight is here. Destroyer, Lich, and Dark Ranger going to clear out this Overlord creep camp. Maiden of Pain is there. Shadow Strike onto the Death Knight. Another Red Drake egg given to the Death Knight here, and we'll see if whether or not Purple has Web. If he does have Web, I do believe, and if Web is given to the Purple, then Purple is just going to have an extremely easy time taking care of that Red Drake. Meanwhile, that Scroll of Restoration will be much more difficult to deal with if he's able to spread all of that damage across multiple units. Potion of Greater Healing. Oh, Obsidian Statue down to 74 hit points. There it goes. Death Knight gets up to level 4. A huge turnaround there. Abomination now joining in, and it looks like, oh, that Destroyer just barely hangs on. He was taking so much damage as an Obsidian Statue, decided to become a Destroyer so he could get Death Coiled and healed. Purple, all of the advantages that Purple had now for naught, as it looks like an Abomination going to get focused down. All right, way too much focus here. A lot of Destroyers, no Web coming in from Purple. What is that about? Not exactly sure, as the Purple now up in front. Is he going to be able to use that Potion of Greater Healing? It looks like, yes, he will be able to do exactly that. Unable to save the Crypt Fiend there. There's a Death Coil saving another unit. There goes another unit. Dark Ranger now up to level 3, as both sides trying to fight their way through. Death Knight, Scroll of Restoration used across multiple units. However, the Death Knight finally uses an anti-magic potion. Is he going to get taken down? 4 hit points. Down to 4 hit points, and he is still alive. I am not exactly sure how that was possible. Well, how he was able to survive all of that, as he is now retreating back. Not a good fight at all for Purple. All of the ground that he earned, that he made up in the early and mid portions of the game, is now all for naught, as his army is just that much weaker. 37 over 60 supply compared to 61 over 70. Yellow's early dominance, even though he was not able to capitalize on it, his skills that he showed in the early portion of the game now coming through once more. All right, Renegade Wizard going to get taken down. Absorb mana, making sure that Frost Armor and Lightning Shield are all gone, giving mana to the Destroyers. The Destroyer is going to have a very easy time in this upcoming fight. 2 Destroyers, 2 Obsidian Statues up against 1 Obsidian Statue and no Destroyers. That is never, ever something you really want to hear. All right, let's take a look at this Dark Ranger up front at level 3. There is a sentry ward here keeping track of the yellow army as it's about to come in. That's exactly how Purple knew that he needed to come back to defend. All right, there is that anti-magic potion. Is it going to be enough? There is a death coil saving it. And now we are just looking at a very big fight. Webb has been enabled. This obsidian statue up front, not in the best of positions, as we are now looking at whether or not we'll see frost armor on some of these units either. It looks as though there is just simply too much focus fire, focusing down the units that do not have that anti-magic shell. And then once all of those units are gone, just the damage output is not enough. Death Knight now trying to fight back here, and so far, this is not looking good for Purple. Purple trying to push back. Is he going to be able to focus down this Death Knight, as he does end up losing his Dark Ranger? All right, Death Knight running around in circle. There's the Scroll of Town Portal, and with that Scroll of Town Portal being able to head away, let's take a look at that. That Lich is sitting at level 3 and does end up surviving, but I'm not sure what Purple can do sitting at 32 supply. 32 compared to 73, and I would not be surprised if the GG just came in. He does not want to see this upcoming fight. He knows that he has really no option to come out or to make any sort of play, and there it is. There is the GG. Very solid play by Yellow in the early and late portions of this game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed game 1. Please stay tuned for game number 2.